That's how we do
it.
yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do.
It's
the Super TV Showdown show. That's where we are. Take it, DJ.
I think we all need to scoot a little bit this way.
Wait. Oh, it's over. Wait.
It's
Yeah.
the Super
Good.
TV
There we go.
Showdown show.
We've got about 17 screens all around us to make sure that we are getting the fullest HD. One day we'll put in 17 cameras for all 17 screens, and that way you can look around.
Yeah.
You know it's not fair that you guys took. Well, you didn't, but DJ, you took off your holiday stuff, and you're still holiday-y, and now I look like I'm not holiday-y.
Yeah, I wore green.
What are you supposed to do?
Because I didn't know if I was going to have a sweater. That was up in the air, so I figured I'd at least wear green.
I'm sorry. We just took the photo for the holiday card, so if you're part of the patron, then you're going to get that.
Wink.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
And y'all better be sending your pictures. And I know that's a weird thing. I want pictures of Spider-Man. I'm going to need pictures of you.
Does this
Weirder.
remind you of Thanos?
Yeah. Also, no, what is this from? What do they do? Who does this?
The Thinker?
Yeah, from season 4. He did that one. Flash.
Yeah.
Elseworlds.
Oh, yeah. Flash.
Brought back
Elseworlds
around.
transition. All right. Well,
Elseworlds.
so far, we haven't heard any more reports of things going wrong. Everything's looking okie dokie.
People usually say sounds a little quiet. Does it sound good to you guys?
Yeah, because
people
everything
usually
on
say?
our end looks good.
We're actually going to have to wait because of
Yeah. Grace says I'm in white for dreaming of a white
Hey, Christmas. See?
Yeah, that's what I did on
Red,
purpose.
green, and white. We've got the colors nailed.
Yeah.
Garrett Odin, Garth McMurray, Zrawl 13, Davey Backwards Dab, Villa Kilreal.
Who's blind now?
This is UN. Well, I mean, could you see it?
Yeah, let's see what you read the next one.
I didn't say that other people were not also blind.
You're going to dish it out. You got to be able to take it.
I cannot take it.
I can't.
I cannot take it. Well, listen, we've got a screening to go to, so
Yes.
let's
Oh, your boy's about to go see some Bumblebee,
By
so we
the-
can get that review to you guys ASAP.
we can get that review to you guys a week from now.
Guys, look at that one. It's a baby.
Wow.
It's a baby.
Torpedo, thank you for that one.
That kind of creeps me out,
Can
if
you,
I'm being honest.
can you
Me too.
do a couple of those? I'd appreciate it.
So I think it's important to let everybody know up front that this is also our mid-season finale for this show.
For Super TV Showdown, so make sure you
It
tell all your
snuck up on
friends.
us.
Yes, it definitely did. So make sure you go to Twitter really quick and be like, hey everyone, you little, we haven't talked in years, but you should go watch Super TV Showdown right now on twitch.tv/PlayNoggin. Go over there, run right over there
specifically
now.
harass the people you haven't talked to in years.
I am
They're the one-
so sad that this is our mid-season finale, but also so happy to have a wee bit of a break from these shows. They
Yeah, it's a
came in
lot.
hot
Yes.
this year.
They did not want to stagger them like Black Lightning coming in halfway
No.
through the
No.
year. It was like, nah, you're
No,
getting
they're
all of them.
right off the bat. But they are ending on a high note for their mid-season finale because it is our big 3-part this year crossover. We have got Elseworlds, baby.
Yeah, that's Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, all put together. That's a good pose for Grant. Good for Grant. We got glutes for Grant. There you go.
Glutes for Grant. Yeah, you know what? More boys should do that pose. A lot of women get saddled with that pose. Boys can do it too.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys tell people when they have asked what this whole Elseworlds things is? Have you guys been getting friends texting you being like, what's this Elseworlds thing?
I have not, but can I tell you something fun? Because my wife is a fan of Ruby Rose from Orange is the New Black, she actually watched this crossover with me.
So cool.
And that was a blast because I was getting excited about things she enjoyed
she
it.
get
but
it?
She enjoyed it. She actually enjoyed it quite a bit because she liked the character stuff between Oliver and Barry.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah. But like all the little, there's so many like little. I was getting amped for Amazo, and she's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Wait for a commercial break."
Yeah.
And then I'll explain it to you.
Everybody was talking to me about what is Elseworlds, what's happening, what are these Smallville references that I'm seeing on Twitter, and I was like, I don't know if I can explain this.
Yeah, it's like years of fan theories that are coming true just because for fun. Like, it's really hard to explain.
It's like somebody coming up to you like, "Hey, can you explain this whole Avengers Endgame to me?"
And it doesn't matter, but it totally does.
Yeah.
And then also for Oliver's character, it seemingly really is going to matter.
Yeah.
So I just was kind of like, maybe try to watch it or not.
Yeah.
It's really good, but I don't know.
You know what? I think for people who, I don't know if you're watching this and you haven't seen Elseworlds, it functions a lot like a movie. There's a lot of character stuff that's happening for other episodes, so maybe that could be like a flavor of what that show's going through right now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a bottle.
For the most, they do try. I think of the
You're a
shows.
bottle.
I think of the shows, Arrow tried to fit in some of its plot lines the most.
Yeah.
But what confuses me more is I wonder how they do this. I could go back and look at Crisis on Earth X. It's like how on Netflix, how do they organize this? Because it's got to be the most impossibly hard thing to like figure out where's what.
I actually got an email about this.
Well, what I will say is that the first episode was an episode of Flash.
For Elseworlds?
And then
It was Flash, Arrow, and then
Supergirl.
Supergirl.
So I would think like that.
Yeah, but like, so if you're watching Arrow on Netflix, and then you get to part 2 of Elseworlds, you're like,
I think that's exactly.
Where do I go to find part 1?
I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
Because the CW app,
What do you mean
did
you
it
got
smart.
an email?
I got an email saying so they're releasing Elseworlds as its own thing.
Good.
Yeah, so
100%.
It's like
That's how you should do it.
It's a separate thing. Well, if you go to the iTunes store, that's what I do when I need to do like the breakdowns for new rock stars because I just need to be able to go beat by beat, not wait for commercial breaks. I just need it. I'm not gonna be illegal. I'm not gonna steal it. So I buy it there, but no, they package it as an event, and like you can go and see Elseworlds and buy it, and then they're like,
Good.
hey, if you want to know this, you can go here. And iTunes does extended seasons, so it's like they're like enhanced seasons or something like that, so you can get behind the scenes content for like each episode. Doctor Who does that too. They do bigger releases for iTunes, which is cool.
Nice.
But you know what? We should not dilly dally and hop into overall thoughts. Roxy, I want to start with you for. I think it's pretty positive.
Should we explain just for those that don't know what is going on in Elseworlds?
Sure.
Yeah. So in this, we've got Oliver is now the fastest man alive. He's the Flash, and then
His
Barry
head shape looks
is
so weird.
And then Barry is now Oliver. He's the Green Arrow, and Supergirl's just Supergirl.
There she is.
Yeah. And so reality is being rewritten. And they're having to figure out how to fix it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. That's the basic gist of it.
It's big stakes, but but also very personal for each of these characters, and it allows them to actually like grow. And you're not just trying to count as all the superheroes that are in a scene. It's more just like, let's see, these 3 people have to deal with a larger than life scenario, and it's pretty dope. But Roxy, starting with you, what did you think of the overall crossover? Because it works like a movie more than like each episode.
I was really impressed.
Yeah,
I was really impressed. I think my favorite was the part 1 though, and then I think part 2 is my second and part 3 is my third. So I don't love when things like that happen. It was actually the same thing with me with Wonder Woman. It went progressively down, but I still love it so much. One of my favorite movies of that year, one of my favorite superhero movies in general. And this is one of my favorite crossovers of any shows ever. I think that they did such a brilliant job incorporating the characters, and there really wasn't anybody that I was like, bummer, we didn't get that much time with blank. I wasn't thinking about that. And I thought Superman and Lois, I have so many positive things to say about them.
Same.
And yeah, I'm all in, and I cannot wait until next year, which we'll talk about later.
Ooh, super excited. Yeah, you're going to get an in-depth discussion about next year's tease, The Crisis on Infinite Earths. But DJ, what did you think about it?
I loved it. I'm going to be honest. For me, the crossovers, the high watermark is still Invasion. I think that's my favorite of the big crossovers they've done. Even though Crisis on Earth X was fun, it didn't have that same magic for me. This recaptured that. And I think it was cool because I think Crisis on Earth X did get a little bogged down with the amount of characters and things and having it be 4 episodes. And I like that this is really kind of Barry and Oliver's story and having them get to understand each other through a different light, and all of these characters learning to appreciate themselves and the people around them differently. And that focus on character I thought was a really smart move, even though the stakes are like, oh, the whole planet's been rewritten. It's the story itself is more personally focused, and I thought that was smart. And these characters I think are at their best when they're bouncing off of each other. I think that's especially true with Barry. In any of these crossovers, Barry is number 1. Like, I love this Barry, and it's like, why don't we get this Barry on Flash like all the time? Like, this version of Barry, he's so great.
Mm-hmm. I don't have an answer for you, but I 100% agree. No, each of these crossovers has begun progressively better. Not even. I think I like them all about equal. I do know that, like, I was listening to a podcast that Stephen Amell was on, and they were talking about the crossover for Earth X.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, actors were just kind of falling asleep like in the middle of scenes because they had been working like crazy hours and like doing the schedules for their own shows and then coming on here. And they're like, at a point, they're like, Grant. He said a specific scene. It was when Grant is in the final big battle with Tom Cavanaugh.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, there's a point where he fell asleep standing up. And it was just like, yeah, I get why you maybe wanted to scale it back just a little bit. And they did it in a cool way that made the world bigger and made the whole, like, universe and the multiverse bigger for these shows, and it allowed each character to face things that they've never needed to face before and actually have conversations that matter. And like, because you know that Oliver and Barry have like their issues, you know, they have their problem, or Oliver has his problems with Barry, but he still loves him.
Yeah.
And in this, he gets to address like why he has a problem with Barry, and it's jealousy, mainly what it is. And I appreciate that they actually had the time in the episode to talk about that. Tyler Hoechlin got more screen time, so that makes me happy.
Tyler Hoechlin up. He's in there somewhere.
There he is. Let's find him. No, Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch.
Lois Lane.
Lois Lane. Do you know the actress's name? Bitsy something? She's from Grimm, and so it was cool to see her in something else where she, in that show...
Do you watch Grimm?
Yeah, I did. I watched all of it.
Really?
Yeah, I came back to it later when I was moving, and I was like, I guess I gotta finish this. But if you guys want me to talk about Grimm, I'll do a whole episode on it, by the way. I would love to. But no...
Next week.
She becomes a character on that show. She becomes very, like... grim and very like dour, and she doesn't get to emote a lot, and in this she has like a big personality, and she talks about in an interview that like one of her big inspirations was correct me, the actress who played Lois Lane in the original Superman movies. Kidder. There you go. So it was just kind of cool that they based this Lois Lane off of her, but she also made her own spin on it, and there's just so much goodness.
She nailed it.
Yeah, and Batwoman too.
It's their Batwoman.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me that like a lot of there's a lot of stuff. A lot of the hype going into this was Ruby Rose as Batwoman going to Gotham, and at least for me, while that was cool, that was not the thing that hyped me the most. I enjoyed her performance. I enjoyed going to Gotham. Mostly, I just enjoyed I enjoyed the explanation of why people haven't mentioned Batman. It's because Oliver's convinced he's an urban legend. Which actually is a really fun take on Batman, that this version of Batman is so good at his job that you could make a convincing argument that he does not exist. That's cool. Like, I'm into that.
I thought what I interpreted from it was that he just chooses to not believe in it because it's ego.
He was like, it is me. I was first.
Yeah.
And I love it, and it is an ego thing for him. But the impression I get is that the fact that somebody could be like, no, Batman's an urban legend. People are like, maybe he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like that. That's like that. This Batman's that efficient.
You know what I mean? Like a weird internet fan thing, like people not believing that we went to the moon or that the moon exists or whatever. Like, but in there, it's like,
I hope Oliver's not a Batman truther. Like,
it's interesting you said that, DJ, because this was my favorite part, which is probably why I like the earlier stuff on better. I loved going to Gotham.
Yeah.
I want to do an entire season in Gotham. I thought it was so cool watching them be there, and I think that the reason the hype was so real going into it is because of all the talk of Ruby Rose's spinoff, and so people were talking more about that than Superman and Lois because they haven't announced that spinoff quite yet.
No.
But I was not as excited about Batwoman as I was about Gotham in general. Being there was so legit, and like I love the way it looked. I love how they depicted it, and they were just like why it is such a mess, and why I thought they nailed that.
And they did not skimp out at all on the Easter eggs and all the references.
No.
They're basically, it's like you don't get to do Batman, but you can talk about him, and you can talk about literally everything he touches.
I do wish if we were going to Gotham, I feel like one thing that would have been cool is if we, instead of Mr. Freeze's wife, although props to that actor Stephen Amell's wife coming in, I do wish they were able to get like Clayface, like one Batman villain that nobody else has touched, but like a legit mid-tier Bat villain. You know,
I wonder why they did that.
To show all of them, like Mark Guggenheim.
That was good. But why they went with Mr. Freeze's wife?
Yeah.
I think they gave Caitlin something to do, maybe. I don't know. Like,
I guess I just was like, what? The writer's room that was like,
Yeah.
Oh, for me, I thought it was Batwoman, like, rogues. So they were just kind of like introducing, like, oh, these are a couple that we can play with. And then, like, Nora Freeze is
she could have her own villains.
Yeah. It's kind of like when they, like, took, like, Livewire and Banshee, what was that one?
Silver Banshee.
And like they start taking more for like female-centric villains from Superman. They brought him over to Supergirl, and then so I kind of see that. Like Nora Freeze, also she's freaking out because she wants to get cold again because that's important to her. Which I was like, that's kind of fun. I don't know. I get what you mean. Like, why didn't show it?
It bothered me. I just was kind of like, that's what they landed on.
Well,
they had Deegan, but just minus all of this Dr. Destiny stuff.
And this actor is great. He was on Constantine.
Lost.
Lost. He's on Justified.
Jeremy
he's great
Davies.
In that. He's a tremendous actor. I really hope he comes back with a newly minted, screwed up face.
That thing was nasty. It was gross.
And for those that talking about references, he's John Deegan from the comics, which is Dr. Destiny, who actually is one of my favorite Justice League animated series episodes.
Same.
Yeah.
You know that the actor is good because some of the dialogue of his could have gone real wrong. Like, I was breaking apart some of his lines, and I was like, oh, thank God he's good.
Yeah.
It works, but like, woof. They really pushed it with him.
Yeah.
And you were talking about Easter eggs before. I like a couple of these in the chat right now. Crazy Freak H things that I can't read says the Wi-Fi password is Alfred. I thought that was really funny.
The Shakespeare head was great for Batman 66. If you guys saw that one, that was really good.
Garth says the names on the doors for Riddler, Scarecrow, etc.
One of my favorite ones, I don't know how you react to this, is somebody who's watched these shows since the jump. In season 2, we introduced Dr. Ivo.
Yeah.
And I believe the Miracle was called, no, his ship was the Amazo.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I guess, because especially at the time, since Green Arrow was so grounded, it was like, cool, I guess that's all we're getting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we actually got honest to God Amazo in the show, and that got me probably way too excited. Like, I'm with you, Roxy. I think the opening was actually my favorite because of the two characters flipped in other positions, and Oliver and Barry learning how to be Oliver, and Oliver learning how to be Barry, and you got Amazo, and of course you got Superman, and you got Flash and Green Arrow hanging out with Superman, which got me crazy excited. It was just a bunch of it was just like a big present to people like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and everything going on with Team Flash, just like not being okay with what was up.
Jokes about the toilet. We finally get an answer
That
about
was
the
a
toilet
great
situation.
Yeah. They're like, you know what? I've been through this, and it's like I would never put someone in a cell without a toilet. It's like, it's right there.
Yeah, Oliver.
Why would it be hidden?
Yeah, exactly. Oliver laughing at Barry for his thumb being out of joint and
Do
stuff
you
like
think
that.
that was the writers knowing how many times we've asked about the toilet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You think that was them being like, shut up?
There's another really great reference that I audibly gasped at was when John Wesley Shipp, and I think he's early on. We have a picture of him, which, by the way, loved having John Wesley Shipp back in his classic Flash costume. But when he comes out and he looks at John, he's like, John, oh, you don't have your ring. Must be a different Earth. And I paused for a second. I was like, oh my God, John Diggle's Green Lantern in another Earth.
But remember, we've talked about it so many times on this show.
Yeah, we did.
Got me
way back then. Yeah.
It got me like. That made me so happy.
And I love that there was no follow-up to it. I didn't want Diggle to be like, what does that mean? And him to be like, well, on my earth, young lad, you actually are. Like, it was the perfect amount of, oh, that's great. Move the F on, never come back to this.
That and the toilet are 100% the writers hearing the fans and being like, here. You know what I mean? Just here's the thing.
Here's something that does not matter to the shows you watch, and so we're going to give it to you because we don't have to retcon anything, and we also don't have to ever work with this again.
Yeah. And also, it's like they haven't had a chance to really use the pipeline for anything because they can send them to an actual president and not break 5
so
federal
many
laws. Yeah. Or also just I think there's Geneva Convention things that you can't treat people like that.
Yeah.
So they have a bathroom. You should give them a bed. I'll tell you, but hey, whatever.
Because people were in there for days. In
months.
season 1.
They were months.
Yeah.
They were when they did that
Maybe
whole
if he
heist
hit a
thing.
different wall or something. I don't know.
And they gave him fast food every day.
Yeah.
Fun at first, but then it gets pretty awful.
In a tiny toilet, it's not going to be able to handle the diarrhea that Big Belly Burger gives you. Let's be honest.
You don't know how well the toilet works.
No, it looks.
It is
I
a
mean,
future toilet.
clogged,
they ripped it apart and they broke out of the cell by using components from it. There's a lot of electronics in that toilet.
I'm sure nobody else ever tried that.
Yeah, never. I don't know why there's electronics in there. Maybe there's heated seats.
I don't know.
That's how you get to stay humane.
Yeah.
Are we jumping around wherever we please? Because I have a part that I really want to ask you guys about, but it's very late.
Oh, you go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
What did you guys think about the diamond engagement?
Ooh,
Sure.
I thought that was fun. But it was also there was some articles popped up. They're like, oh, would you do a Superman spinoff? And everyone was like,
it is funny.
maybe.
It is funny because I love Tyler Hoechlin's great, and I love having Superman shows, and just it made me so happy. As cool as I enjoyed Justice League movie, and it was cool seeing those characters together. We've lived with this particular DC universe significantly longer, so having this Flash and this Green Arrow hang out with Superman I didn't realize how happy it would make me.
Me too.
But it is funny on these shows because it's Supergirl's show. How kind of a putz this Superman is. He's always like, oh, Supergirl's stronger. She's going to have to handle this one. And you hear he did all these amazing things. But for the most part, when we see him, he's not really pulling
I
through.
think that's why they gave him the book thing. She was like, I can't do it. My cousin has to open
Yeah.
the book. He literally goes,
Boop. Yeah.
and I thought opening
And
it was
starts
going to be
rewriting reality,
something. He
yeah.
just opened it straight
Yeah.
up, like, boom.
I do think the bigger tease was the fact that Lois is pregnant. And I like that it's like, oh, so you're going to be gone 9 months. And he's like, a little bit more for the next crossover. And I can almost...
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee he's going to come back and like, oh, because of time shenanigans on Argo, here's our son John Kent, and he's Superboy now.
Yeah.
That would be
Which I would
smart.
honestly love.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Jonathan Kent's a really cool character, so that makes me excited. Also, I like the explains like, yeah, we're gonna need to go to Argo for her to have a baby. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. So get out of here like now.
Even though I hate Argo, I hated that storyline. I hate the concept of it. I hate all of that. But you know what? Whatever.
I like that he can barbecue inside of the Fortress of Solitude.
And you know what I liked? I liked that he burnt it, and he was such a dork about it. And it's like, that's cool,
Yeah, that
man.
is
Like,
cool.
let Superman be a little bit of a dork, you know?
He was like in his own place, but I'm still like, I can't move past this, and I need the male opinion on this.
Yes.
What's happening where he creates this diamond in the coal,
perfectly cut for some reason.
But he has
the little ring thing.
Like, so did he go purchase
The band.
the band and brought it so that he could do that for a diamond?
Is it weird that I would think like it's just it doesn't matter what he crushes into diamond, but I would be like, choose something cooler than just the coal from your grill, dog.
Yeah.
Like, go get it from the moon or something.
Yeah,
Bold
like,
move, though.
I just don't. Not my favorite proposal.
But to be
His
fair,
dirty hand.
these shows are infamous for their garbage proposals.
Yeah, totally.
And
And
weddings.
some
Yeah.
garbage weddings.
Yeah.
I just, if I were her, I wish she cracked some joke like, couldn't do better than the grill. Or
Yeah.
like, oh, you went to the store, you picked out the band,
Yeah.
couldn't afford the diamond.
It was
like,
a little goofy.
which is fine. I have no problem with that. But just the combination of it was like, where was he holding that? Where was he keeping that?
Yeah, I mean, coal and diamonds, they're carbon based, and so that's always the joke is that you crush coal and that's how you can get diamonds. And
But it wouldn't come out perfectly cut like that.
Yeah, and in
That's
the
not how that
size
works.
that he had already paid and bought, place it in, and also you have to like really secure that.
I
can't
like that
just, like,
that's the
put
thing
it-
that complete. You know what?
well,
you know
also
what-
he could squeeze it in. Like that part I
You
got.
know
But like,
what part of my life I'm in when all of my
that's-
friends are
you're
getting
like-
engaged and married. I'm like, what's happening?
Right.
Is it a princess cut? What's happening? Is it cushion?
You know what derailed me? You know what derailed me is when Barry and Carl are like, we're gonna run and it'll slow the planet down, which will slow down time. And I'm like,
No.
no, that's not. I'm just gonna have to let this
And the
go,
scenes
wash
go
over me
on.
because this bothers me that it makes so little sense.
Everything moves on and you're still stuck there and you miss a scene because you're like focusing on what
you're
just
like,
happened. You're like,
what? But so let's talk a little bit because we've been sitting on this asset for a minute, and this is another thing that made me happy. We got
we
the
haven't even
monitor.
mentioned him.
yeah,
and
LaMonica Garrett is the
he was
director,
great.
the actor's name. He has
He's
a great presence.
Yeah, his voice is great. He's like two heads taller than literally every other actor on that show. Like he was huge, and it's crazy. I never thought I'd see a live action monitor, and it was actually kind of dope. And I'm into that. I mean, that was cool.
Well, his costume's
He was-
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was dope. It was dope, and I felt like I couldn't have minded less that he was so one note.
Yeah.
It just was. He just was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And I also
he's,
kind of
he's
liked
too
his-
big for everybody else to even fathom.
And I
There's
also like the little
no-
things that like Superman's coming at him. It's like, no. It's like,
Just
oh
boom.
no.
yeah.
No, this, that. I was like, I'd grab a beer with you.
Yeah, and I also liked
Gotta
his
be
office,
honest.
his little space office, that his little space hangout
In the
with stars.
apartment complex.
I also like that it's a testament to how you said he had a good presence, and it's a testament to that similar to Thanos, that you can make fun of how silly parts of his appearance are, and it's still like, yeah, I'm kind of scared by him though.
Yeah, like I
because they
wouldn't.
made jokes about the mutton chops. It's like still kind of scared.
Yeah. No, Cisco and Caitlyn got utilized a lot in this crossover,
Yeah.
and I liked it. I liked that Caitlyn and Killer Frost got like they were used in cool ways, both of them. And then Cisco, one, like I liked his reaction to him because
Yeah.
he was terrifying. He's like, who the frick is that? And he's like, yeah, somebody with mutton chops kept popping up in my brain. And then when he gets full on hit
Yeah,
by
by
a
a
van,
car.
he gets hit by a van, and he's fine.
Yeah.
And his, you have a picture of him here that I'll pull up.
Quote unquote evil Cisco.
Yeah, Mr. Ramon. There you go. And him in the Fortress of Solitude made me happy.
That was great. I honestly, it's funny how smart they were about the pacing of everything, because it's like, cool. So Barry and Oliver switch, which gives them a new perspective. Well, where do we take that? Well, what if we made them the bad guys in the universe? And one of my favorite bits is when they're trying to distract evil Superman, John Deegan as Superman. they straight up threaten civilians' lives to get away, which works, and then Barry immediately feels sick about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was a good joke.
It was a good
remember when they were starting posting these on Instagram? That was like months ago.
And you're like, what is this about? And it was and then we got a little bit of Jimmy. And an interesting thing, I was a little bit bummed that like a lot of these crossovers, it feels like Green Arrow and Flash crossover, also Supergirl. You know what I mean? She feels a little tacked on.
I agree with that, but I get why. She's not on their Earth.
Yeah, and something I thought was interesting is she's trapped on their Earth, and when the timeline shifts, we find out that literally every human character on the show exists on that Earth. The only difference is that her and Superman didn't land. Because Alex is on their Earth, Jimmy's on their Earth, Gary's there.
Gary's there.
How did you guys feel about the Alex storyline?
I thought it was interesting. I liked the way that she was able to tap into it because she's her sister. And that doesn't mean that it's reality rewrote. So that shouldn't be the same really person at this point.
Yeah, but whatever.
But I like that they kind of like tapped into her vulnerabilities and was like, no, and like she can see that she's a good person. Also, since a human being rewrote reality, you're like, there's probably cracks here. It's probably not perfect.
But even in that reality, she didn't have her as a sister. What if Alex is like poor and sad in that universe? We don't know.
I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, she didn't look happy.
My heart ached for Alex in this. And like, so many points about like if you never fully embrace who you are and coming out and being yourself and having the support system and everything. I was just like, oh. This is like, it was gut-wrenching watching her. I couldn't watch her and think about anything other than like, gosh.
Yeah. She's such a good actress.
She's really good.
We have some comments from the Discord from Lizzie McBride. It was fantastic, but I found it a bit too short for my liking. I think at least one more episode would have done it, especially a longer scene for Gotham because Ruby Rose killed it, and Rabbi says loved it. I think part 1 was my favorite. Everyone being confused was hilarious. Yeah. Team Flash immediately drugged both of those people.
Yeah, Team Flash is not the best.
To be fair, they've dealt with like 9 to 10 time traveling alternate dimension people.
To also be fair, you slept with and woke up with somebody that you thought was your husband.
Yeah. Oh, true.
Well, listen, we don't know when the transition happened.
Maybe not slept with.
I don't mean slept with.
I know, but we don't. But we might have transitioned right when he woke up, so there might not have been a lot of sleeping involved. Is all I'm saying.
That's true, but it would be if I slept next to somebody and woke up with somebody, and then he claimed not to be my man, I'm drugging him. I don't know if that's actually what I would do, but it's not that far out of the realm of possibility.
I also love that Oliver's go-to was Barry. What did you do? Because 100% that would be my go-to.
Yeah.
Like, what did you mess up?
Also, invasion was his fault. They established that the invasion thing was Barry's specific fault that happened.
It was. Ouch. And it was Barry's wedding that they messed up. Barry is like a focal point on these shows.
Bit of a magnet. Bit of a magnet, I'd say. So out of the 3 episodes, I want to rank each one for like our favorite. I think for me, it goes 3, 1, 2. And that's really close together just because the third one I was like, man, they're actually doing a lot of stuff right now. It's making me really happy. One, just because of just like the way they were unpacking Barry and Oliver's relationship specifically, especially on the farm. Because it's like you did the arrow bit, you shot him in the back, and it's like, but it means something different now because it's not. You're not teaching me. You're just being mean, and and it's different. I'm like, Oliver's being a baby.
But it is. It explains a lot of like why of the 2 I prefer Oliver. It's like, I have a lot of these personality traits.
But for 2, it was great too, and Barry was great. But what would you?
I did 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. That was pretty easy.
Yeah, that is easy. I'm 1, 3, 2.
There you go.
We're all different.
So that's top to bottom, right?
But again, it's
1, 3,
1, the last one, and then the middle one. Just because the Gotham references don't mean as much because we've seen Gotham and other stuff. But
it was exciting.
Of all these things, we've seen Gotham the most. We haven't seen. I've never seen a live action
Gotham
Amazing.
the most?
Ooh, got him.
So overall, I think I would give if we were to condense them all as like a one thing, I think I'd give this a 9. Honestly, if you think of it as like one movie, this is honestly one of my favorite superhero movies of the year because its bigger story doesn't distract from being character focused, which I think is something like Spider-Verse is a great example of that. Like Spider-Verse might even be bigger conceptually than this, but it doesn't lose track of its characters, and I think that really matters to me at least. If you were to contain the whole thing, what would you rate it?
Because I range from 8 to 9 based on the episodes, it's an 8.5.
There you go, Sam.
I give it a 9. It was very good. There were but you're right. There are like some moments where you're like, I'm Superman's worst pal. It's like,
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I get it, but also that doesn't make any sense.
Are you enemies of Superman? Were you friends with Superman? And now you're
frenemies.
What
enemies? Also, should Kara know who Bruce Wayne is?
Yes, that was the implication
Yeah.
I got from their conversation. But what was weird is that she assumed Batwoman knew who she was. Like they had a conversation as if they both knew things about each other.
No, she said that. Batwoman said.
Cara
Danvers.
Yeah.
So
not
Lena Luthor's not able to figure out the disguise, but Kate Kane
Batman.
immediately.
Yeah, not making Lena look very good.
I will say I really want to see these characters team up again. I liked the Batwoman and Supergirl.
I think Melissa and Ruby have become friends.
Good.
So I think that
I'm bummed they're on different Earths for now because I would like to see those characters hang out, and also now we have a Wonder Girl, so we could have. If that actress was able to come over, we could have like a version of the Trinity, which would be cool.
Did you guys know they were going to be on different Earths?
I assumed she was going to be on Supergirl's Earth.
I thought so
I'm
too.
surprised.
I was surprised. I am a little bummed about that too.
By the way, there was an article that came out this week that some of the people behind Titan said, yeah, they can cross over the CW shows in the DC universe, but we'll see.
Maybe a year from now.
Let's cross them with the Legends.
Yeah, please bring them over here. Put Wally on Titans for a second.
Doom Patrol Legends.
Bring them over.
Yeah, I will real quick. Are you getting ready to transition off this?
No, I wanted to read more reviews from Hef Nerdy. Haven't gotten. Okay, you haven't watched it yet. This is all 13. I loved it. I was so excited every time there was any ridiculous Easter egg. Batwoman wasn't around nearly long enough. Not sure if this was my favorite crossover, but it was crazy. Ulysses Campbell, loved every minute of it. There were some wonky parts, but it was but they were mainly effects based. Like Amazo, sometimes like he moves like a rubber man, and it's like that's what's going to happen.
These shows are these shows. They have the budget that they have, so at a certain point you just learn to live with it, I guess. But you're not wrong.
Yorkie says, I thought it was fantastic. I expected a bit more Batwoman and Earth 90 Flash. Me too, because he just got.
Well, Monitor just flicked him away.
Yeah, I don't. He's probably going to come back for our next conversation,
yes.
But that was amazing. And Demi C, I had the great 3-parter full of Easter eggs and fun little moments for our characters.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you guys, thank you for make sure you join our Discord on our Patreon and check out our bonus content. But really quick, I want to just ask you guys, best moment for you guys.
Oh, good,
what made you happiest?
I don't know.
DJ?
I have one.
Yeah.
And it surprised me. I think it might actually be Oliver's confrontation with the Monitor.
Yeah,
it was a good reminder. It's a good reminder of how much I actually really love that character, Green Arrow. How much I've grown to really like this version of it. And it's like a Batman thing, but it feels different because it's not. But that idea of like the mere mortal confronting this thing for his friends and him admitting that like no. Kara and Barry are better. So if anybody's got to go, it shouldn't be them. You know what I mean? I thought it was great acting on Stephen Amell's part. I thought it was really cool. It was emotional for me.
That might be my favorite part as well.
Yeah, I was surprised that of all the crazy things that happened, it's like Green Arrow having a chat with the Monitor was like a big deal for me.
Yeah,
I think it's because of his growth, and I wasn't expecting him to be the one that really surprised me, and he did. I think that's my favorite too.
Yeah, same. That and Barry and Oliver confronting one another about what their insecurities with each other, and also trying to like unpack all of this. And they got to do it on the Smallville farm, and we got we got Remy Zero's "Somebody Save Me," and that made me so happy. Also, it just made me realize two things that were realized during this: we had never been to Smallville yet on Supergirl, and I didn't realize Batwoman and Supergirl are cousins to the big two. Yeah. I didn't realize that they were both cousins. Then Supergirl is, but like, oh yeah, Batwoman is too. Yeah. Guess that's all we can do with our characters.
Yeah, but we're cousins with each other, right?
They're cousins.
No, we're cousins.
We're cousins?
Yeah.
Like cousins, we're shaking hands. We ranked our episodes. I was going to talk about weaknesses, but I want to get right into the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Yeah, let's dive into Crisis because I will say this was kind of spoiled for me before I saw it at the
same
because I watched it later than other people. I just on the internet you see Crisis on Infinite Earth.
This is the first time I watched all three night of in so many years.
Nice.
I was like, don't F with me, people.
And it's in some ways this isn't surprising because there was a lot of nods to it on the show. I honestly thought that Supergirl's Earth was going to be merged in this crossover with the way they were talking. What do you guys think this could be? Because I don't think there is a bigger storyline in comics, like scale-wise, other than maybe their most recent Secret Wars at Marvel. Which because it in its own way it is its own Crisis on Infinite Earth. It's like I can't think of a bigger one, so it's crazy that these shows are tackling it. What do you think it could be? What do you want to see?
I don't know if we can do it in 3 episodes.
Yeah, you'd need a week. You need like a night, you need the 4, or you
Well,
need
it's
the
also
5.
crazy that they're announcing it now, which makes me think like
They're
this is
really
going to
prepping
be.
this.
Like I saw the story for all of these was by of Elseworlds was Mark Guggenheim, and I'm wondering if he's just going to lock himself in a room for a year and like, hey, you all do the shows. I'm going to figure this thing out.
Yeah, all the schedulers, all the coordinators.
If Grant Gustin was falling asleep before, oh god.
Yeah.
And also Legends at all? Do you think?
I think you have to, because it's everybody.
Crisis
Oh, I'm
on
thinking
Infinite
maybe
Earth, yeah.
Black Lightning as well. Even
Yeah.
though it's unconfirmed where, if any of the Earths they're
But
on.
you did put up an asset, and I think we got to talk about it. There's no way that Smallville doesn't show up in this. There's
Especially after
there's
the song
way.
nod.
And the song nod, and Stephen Amell did tweet out, he was like, look, we're meeting about something with Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling. It was about his winery, but it's like, come on, we know what this is.
Okay, so the big thing
Yeah.
with Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comics, it's literally every Earth crashing into each other, characters from across dimensions, and so something like Smallville feels like yeah, you're going to do that. Other CW
You think
shows.
like Lois and Clark?
I mean, we've had
Dean
most of those
Cain.
actors.
Yeah.
We both had Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain
as other characters.
as other
Yeah,
characters
Terry
on their
Hatcher,
world. 90s Flash is probably a given. Do you think? Okay, here's what I want. I want multiple versions of Batman. If they ever do Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's like, do you think there's any reality where we get Michael Keaton's Batman?
You can get Val Kilmer's Batman. You can get Val Kilmer's Batman pretty easy.
You know what? I take it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get that.
But do you
Should
think?
we have like some kind of bat nipple reference somewhere, just on the
Why
wall?
not? Oh,
and
yeah.
How big?
we just see him for a second, and like the whole multiverse is like, whoa, that was one's like, they're like
Actually,
high
you
beams.
probably could, just like all the props. They used a lot of the props from the DC vault in this crossover. Do you think maybe like prop costume? But legitimately, how big do you think it could get?
could
Do you think maybe Henry Cavill's Superman could show up?
I think you could show a glimpse of Gotham. I think you can show a glimpse of a bunch of different shows. I think you can show a glimpse of basically any DC show. Aquaman pilot
Possibly.
people with Justin Hartley.
Yeah.
Show just a clip of it. Do it, cowards.
Possibly Ray Fisher's Cyborg, but I think him being the less known
What
person
about
in their cast.
Ezra Miller's Flash.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, but
I don't think so
know.
either. Because
I
he's got
mean,
all the Harry Potter stuff he's doing.
But
Yeah.
that does make him like Warner Brothers boy people right
Yeah.
now. So, but I don't know. But that's why I'm saying if they're going to do it the way that we want it to be done, which is just everybody, everything,
Yeah.
we need 10 episodes. It
Yeah.
needs to be a whole.
What about do you
like a
think-
movie, or
Yeah.
like just longer, like a mini series where it's like this is a 2-hour episode, another 2-hour episode, and then a third 2-hour episode, so you can just like tell the whole story.
So, are you guys thinking like it'll be crazy huge, or do you think this is going to be more like Flashpoint, where they
I think
basically
it's going
take
to be more like Flashpoint.
the concept and then make a really slimmed down version of
I
it?
think that's exactly what it's going to be because I
Okay.
don't think that they are going to be able to have the budget, the time, or even scheduling wise to do what we're talking about right now. I think, what did we do? 3 episodes of Flashpoint before we were fully back to where we were.
Oh, less than that.
No, it was
like
in the
1.5.
episode.
It was one.
It was in the
Yeah.
episode that they went back.
And then we have like flashbacks for the next 2 showing things that we had seen or something like that.
Okay, here's my pitch: is that you have a ticking clock, and the way you show that time progressing is that you throw up a picture, like a subtitle like Earth something, Earth 50 or whatever,
Yeah.
and you show Smallville's Earth, and you see it, like you bring those actors back for a second, and it's gone, and one of those characters gets ejected to like the main plot, and then
Yeah.
you like basically you kind of create like a
So
Justice League out of multiple like Supermen,
Kind of like
or
multiversity.
Flashes. Yeah.
Multiversity, where you have a whole team of alternate. I'd be down for that.
Yeah, and then but the ticking clock is you showing alternate Earths. You can create some new ones because then you can
Yeah.
just get actors
Use
for
the same
cheaper and
actors, yeah,
stuff. Or you
exactly.
use the same actors where it's like, in this world, Flash is a girl, like Green Arrow's a girl, but Supergirl's a boy. And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
whoa, what is that like? And then
That's some classic Elseworld stuff right there.
that is a multiverse
Yep,
thing.
100%.
Or what if Gal Gadot comes in, goes and gets whatever her name is that we love being Donna Troy,
Yeah.
goes and gets
Connor Leslie.
and they hang out, and they're like feeling a little weird, a little bored, and then boom, and then all of a
I
sudden
don't feel so good, Mr. Stone.
yeah, and then
So
And
another
then-
thing,
and
another thing with Crisis on Infinite Earths is that was a way for DC to kind of clean the slate, combine all the Earths. I feel like Supergirl's Earth has to merge with the main Earth 1 Earth in this, but do you think it'll be a complete clean slate and now we're all on the same Earth?
if there's anything I hope after the crossovers, it's that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because especially after now we've got Batwoman's Earth being on our Earth.
Yeah.
By our Earth, I mean Flash Arrow Earth or whatever it
Yeah.
is. why? Why would we not move Supergirl over if we
Same.
have a good
Yeah.
reason and that we're able to do it? Why?
And if you did that, you could call like the subtitle for season 5 of Supergirl like World's Finest, and you could have Batwoman and Supergirl like a TV show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could be fun. Also, Titans would be a really good one just to kind of shoo over here. Just be like, if you want to do a crossover, do it now.
Do you think we could get some of the DC Universe shows?
Why not? Like, I mean,
I would love it.
Also animated, because like that's the whole thing with Spider-Verse and
That
everything.
would be amazing.
I was
If we got some of the
wondering-
DC animated universe
Teen
characters.
Titans Go.
I
That
was
would be
wondering
amazing.
that, but I think we're talking way too big of a budget here.
I
I
would like,
very much agree.
I would like. Who's the actor that Justin Hartley played Green Arrow and whatever?
Yep.
He's doing This Is Us. Come on.
He's just doing one of the biggest shows on TV right now. I would like a joke from Justice League Unlimited where it's Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen, and then for a second suddenly he's Justin Hartley, and he's like, "I'm caught up. Let's keep moving on." You know what I mean? Do you remember that joke?
Yeah, that's a good one.
In Justice League Unlimited, there was Jon Stewart was the Green Lantern, and they were dealing with a big time crisis, and suddenly he just turned into Hal Jordan. And he's like, I'm Hal Jordan, I'm a Green Lantern, I'm caught up, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And so he's just Hal Jordan for like
That's
half
so
the
good.
episode.
Yeah, and then he turns back into Jon Stewart. It's like, this is great. Yeah,
That's
no,
amazing.
But Black Lightning would be like is a big one with like Thunder and Lightning having him there. Very, very frightening.
Yeah.
See, Galileo. You're gonna be there too. And the Titans. Thank you. Galileo. You know, this is the pieces, and I wouldn't mind it there. And also Doom Patrol, because that show will be out by that point. And if you want,
But they say the F word. Oh, no, honestly, if any of those characters showed up with these, I'd be amped.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be all about it.
But what would you guys think if we saw that in a crossover? Let us know in
So
the
much.
comments down below. And guys, thank you so much for joining us on our Twitch show.
Hey.
Oh yeah, we won't see everything over there, but it's
Yeah,
live.
but
Hello,
we're over there.
We got Kevin, we got Nick, and we got Kevin again.
Talk to us in the chat. I've kept wanting to reference our Legends episode in our other conversation because that was another really great episode.
Yeah, but it was not relevant.
Yeah, it was not relevant at all.
But it's very relevant
I
to
was
people who
so
like these shows.
glad that Legends was good because the week before I
was
did
trash.
not like, and this week I was like, yes,
And
yes,
you
yes, yes.
you notice they didn't touch on the worst plot line from last week at all.
No. Yeah.
Like literally at all. They just
I think they did. I think they did a little bit. I think the only reference you got was Nora. No, what's her name? Mona. Sorry, a lot of
yeah.
4-letter
Double
double vowel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Nora we don't dislike
She-
because she's not in love with a wolfman.
possibly an animal.
And she wasn't in this episode at all, right?
No.
But no, Mona was like, yeah, they turned the something into a rug. And I was like, cool, then we're done with that character.
But that was
right?
in an alternate reality.
Damn it.
So for those of the kids at home, we're talking about Legends of Tomorrow.
That's season 4, episode 8, Legends of 2 Meow Meow. After Constantine breaks the cardinal rule, he, Charlie, and Zari try to deal with the ramifications without telling anyone else. And I'm a big fan that it's these three.
Yes.
It's Constantine's great, but he is like not as utilized as much as he's not as integral to other characters, I guess. Or you know what? That's actually true just to Zari and Charlie. So I'm glad that they got to be front like and center in this
and
crossover.
I love you had two characters who are just desperately like, hey, instead of undoing what we did, let's just try and work around it.
Yeah.
Let's just try and whatever.
And you know the whole time you're like, go back to New Orleans.
Yeah, just go back
to New Orleans.
right?
Yeah.
But every alternate version, these throwbacks to these old 80s shows, first it's Super Violent A-Team.
Oh, it's
and
custodians of the chronology.
And the frickin' slates were so
So
brilliant.
good.
The intro music.
Oh
just
God! Every time I
everything.
was so excited, just like, what do we got?
What is this? This is Sirens of
Space-time.
Space Time.
Yeah, Sirens of Space-time.
Made me so happy. We never explain why suddenly Hank's dad is behaving like Charlie, and they're like, it's like these people died. It's like that doesn't explain all.
Just
of
Hank,
this.
not Hank's dad.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, Hank. Yeah, sorry.
But also Gideon has a body. Just in this
why?
timeline, why not? Who knows? But in every timeline, they murder all
Gideon's hot, so
That is true.
So that's
That
why
is true.
She's a fox for sure.
like such a fox.
Also, if you go online, you'd see the writers for Legends of Tomorrow posted their whiteboard with all the names of the episodes, or what they wanted to call this. Lot of winners.
No,
lot of winners. Two Meow Meow is pretty good. I like 3 other ones on there too, which I kind of hope they just kind of pocket those and use them
use
later.
them for
They
later.
should rewrite the Annie song. Two meow meow, two meow meow.
I love you too, meow meow.
Yeah.
But no, overall, the entire episode was amazing. Charlie got a lot. Also, they let her have her abilities, but they're like, but she keeps going back to Amaya. Just
But she did explain it. No, she was
What'd
like,
she say?
I came to the Legends as Amaya, and so that's how I feel now. Like that's
Like
my
a
form.
Maya.
It's my part.
Yeah.
That's
You've
when I
been there
started
for
to feel like I was
maybe
home.
like 3 days.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like, you
a
guys are a
week.
good lot. I'm like, all right.
All
Yeah,
right.
sure. I
You
mean,
know
we'll
that
take
yet?
it. Yeah.
'Cause you've hung out with Mick a good amount, and I don't know if you're very clear.
I also
By the
love when she disguises herself as Sarah and tries to convince them, like, "Hey, we're just not going to murder monsters now," and they immediately see through it.
Yeah,
It's good.
just no.
That was a bad disguise to pick, honestly. But my favorite was they're puppets now, and it's like, oh, and they're teaching you about friendship and the letter A, and it's like, what happened? He's like, oh yeah, the fairy godmother latched onto Rory, so that's what happened.
That was, and when they're coming out of the truck and they like fist pound, there was so many great jokes this episode. It was so much fun, and it's crazy. Like I thought Elseworlds was going to overshadow everything, and this was kind of in its own little pocket on par with what was going on there.
And you get a reference to Elseworlds. It's like, yeah, you got calls from Cara Danvers, Barry Allen, and Oliver Queen, and
The crossover again.
annual crossover. It's like, we're too busy.
That's gonna be a hard pass.
You know, Oliver Queen owes me money. It's like there are lots of good jokes in there.
Yeah, that was excellent. They're so self-aware, and they just like knew that they needed to turn it on this episode, so they did.
Yeah, and we also brought back the fairy godmother, which was great.
And
also,
we loved her when she was there originally, and so I feel like they heard us say that
Yeah.
exactly
on the show.
And
Oh,
then,
for sure. Well, they're big listeners, big fans.
They see the unicorn for the first time, and then the jump ship immediately flies out, shoots and kills it, and flies away. So many good bits.
She's like, and you thought we needed Constantine. It was like, he's in there. You did need
Also
him.
turning Zari into a cat, then not in a cat, and then
Yeah.
back and forth and back and forth. Also,
Meow, meow.
really cute cat that they got.
One of my favorite jokes, best line of delivery by Matt Ryan. It's like, oh, you're so soft.
Yeah.
So good.
And he's losing his mind.
yeah,
Like he's
100%.
Also, really cool tease for Neron because Dr. Destiny looked real gross for Elseworlds. Neron, what was his boyfriend's name?
I was just thinking.
Desmond.
Desmond.
Yeah.
Desmond looks pretty gross.
Yeah,
Also,
if you
that's a
have
cool big villain to pick. Neron, that's you talked about him, but that's really cool that they're really like he's collecting all the Pokemon to throw them at the legends. It's really cool.
If you have one of the whatever that phobia of holes is, Neuron's not going to be for you.
There's a phobia of holes.
Yeah.
Groupings of holes, and I could show. They're called lotus pods, and if you want to do a Google search of that, lotus pods are a type of flower, and the fear is groupings of holes. It's like when you zoom in on someone's pores, and you're like, I feel a little weird about this.
The one that makes me feel gross is that frog that births the other frogs out of its back, and they climb out of that hole. That's not fun.
What's an example of a hole? You're afraid of holes like in the ground?
I'll show you.
Okay,
You know what? Here, I got it. Don't worry, I got it. But here, I do want to read a review really quick. Yorkie, I finally caught the mid-season finale, and holy poop! That was so much fun. All the CW shows seem to be on point this season. And that makes me very happy. That opinion might change when we go to the next show, but for the most part, yeah, I think, you know what, 4 out of 5. That's really good.
Really solid. Well, we were talking about for Elseworlds that it's like we're going to need like a bunch of episodes for Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's like, well, there's like 5 or 6 shows now, so you have the real estate.
Yeah, 100%. I'm still on this whole thing, so
I got
do something else while we. Wait, what?
Yeah, it's the fear of that.
Yeah.
It's being afraid of tattoo.
That's not
marbles.
tattoos.
It's the holes in.
That's holes in the
Remember,
skin.
she can't see.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that was my bad. I held it a little. Too
no,
far
but all
away.
the little. Again, I liked all the little sideshow references, the new versions of the show that they created.
Oh yeah.
All the different ways they tried to fix it. Like you said, this group of characters. I don't think there was a part I didn't enjoy about this. Also, Charlie doing fake Gary. Like, it was fun seeing that actor play a competent person.
What is happening? Talk to me after about this. What are you showing me that is?
It's the fear of just seeing holes together. Yeah, that's all of this is fake, by the way. This is just lotus pods that people got grossed out by.
Yeah.
That's just how the seeds grow. But no, the fear is, I don't know how else to describe it because that's just what the fear is.
It's the fear of that. And that's
that.
basically what
I have
Neuron is.
that.
But speaking of lotus pods, what would you rate this mid-season finale for Legends of Tomorrow? I think Constantine had a really good moment where he got to like show his love, and also it's like, thank God we still remember the Men in Black mind eraser thing.
Why did he need to make up with his boyfriend instead of just do that?
I don't know.
Just in case.
His
for
own
him.
personal, I guess. And then when Constantine, like other Constantine came up, he looked so young.
Mm-hmm. It's only been like 6 months.
Yeah.
But
he lives hard. He lives hard, guys.
Lives hard.
He lives hard. Roxy, what would you rate this episode?
I think on par with the other one, 8.5.
Nice. I would say on par for me. It's a 9. I would give this a 9.
I'll go 8.5 so Rox, you got backup because you had backup last time.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
I really needed the support today.
Cousins.
Do you not want to be our cousin? Or?
Listen, it was unconfirmed.
Yeah.
It was unconfirmed. I didn't feel like that was my call to make.
Coming back from the mid-season, we'll find out. That's the big twist.
Yeah.
For this show, you're going to find out.
Next year
on SuperTV Showdown. But also, let's talk about Black Lightning because this is the mid-season
nervous.
finale.
You guys, I don't want to hear you guys talk about Black Lightning. You're going to yuck my yum.
You know what? Hey, you know what? You open it up. Let's talk about season 2, episode 9, The Book of Rebellion, chapter 2, The Gift of the Magi. I don't understand that title. Jennifer
it doesn't have anything to do with the episode. But anyway.
Jennifer separately tries to save a feverish Khalil after their narrow escape. Jefferson, Lynn, and Anissa work on tracking down the pair.
Good question. What does it mean that Jennifer separately tries to save? Separately from what?
From her family who are trying to find her desperately.
Separately tries to save. I do not know separately. I guess Khalil wasn't really in on the saving of himself, I guess.
I mean, he was incapacitated.
Yeah, he was pretty poisoned.
I think that there's some really not strong parts about this.
Wait, you're supposed to be positive.
about their relationship, but in general, this edges more CW than our other shows, which is the thing that attracts me to it. I love that kind of thing. It reminds me of like the Vampire Diaries of the world, and when you're like forbidden love and you kind of are into it anyway. And I get why you guys would not be as invested in it at this point, especially because that's not the show that was originally pitched or sold to us in season 1.
And it wasn't that show.
Yeah, but now it has turned a little bit into that. And I don't know, like seeing how much she wanted to take care of him and like how badass she is, and just the whole scene where she figures out how to get the anecdote. Did I put
it would be a good anecdote later, but it was an
anecdote.
Yeah.
It was really, I thought that was smart. Like you got to use it on her. That was smart.
Violent.
Bad. And
you
I was
make a
into
good
it.
teacher, by the way. Way to redirect.
There you go. You got to move around.
Just FYI.
Thank you.
Am I supposed to be rooting for Jennifer and Khalil?
I'd say no.
I think the answer is yes.
The show wants me to root for them.
I do think the answer is yes.
Because they're really...
I have a pitch for no, but go for what you're going to say.
She's making her family's life a living car wreck because they are all losing their minds because they don't know where she is. And that makes me not...
Teenagers, am I right?
If I'm supposed to be rooting for them, I don't.
I know.
I think
you wouldn't have rooted for Damon and Elena either.
That's probably not. And here's the thing:
original.
Yeah, you were actually close, wasn't it? Isn't that a spinoff?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to go more niche.
Hold on. Is Secret Circle also a spinoff?
Nope. Legacies is the other spinoff.
Legacies.
Are there other abilities?
Secret Circle's witches.
And I know, but I thought maybe it's the same world. Do Legacies have different abilities than vampire abilities?
So Legacies is the name of the show, not a type of person.
Well, because they go into the school, and I see them manipulating
so
things.
So witches, vampires, werewolves.
So Secret Circle could be a part of it.
I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
I see the ads for it on the CW app.
If you guys want us, we get so many ads for all their other programming. My pitch is that no, you're not supposed to be rooting for them because they don't know what they're doing, and Anissa's like breaking into hospitals and stealing medicines. Like it's like this is not
Jennifer
good.
Is doing
Jennifer,
that.
sorry, their real names confuse me. But
I know.
By the way, this is the lady. I don't know why I threw this up. This is the lady hunting them, but it's not.
She's
knowing
got
what
a cool
they're doing.
look.
She does have a cool look.
No, my pitch is that no, you're not supposed to, and Khalil realizes that in this episode where it's like, yeah, you need to go home now. And like I don't like this, but I see the appeal, like you said, where she's like ride or die. Yeah. But Khalil, you can see it in his eyes. He's like, this isn't good, and he needs to fix this now.
But I hate that Khalil's mom is like kind of turned on him. So that's why I think you're supposed to be rooting for them, because he doesn't have that person. She's his person.
Mm-hmm. But he did.
I'm not saying that I think you should root for them. I'm saying I think they think you should root for them.
Yeah, I just feel like she's being so incredibly selfish and short-sighted, and not somebody I want to watch or root for or spend any time with.
That's the peanut butter baby, if anyone knows what I'm talking about.
I don't disagree with anything either of you have said.
Yeah.
But you like it.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike this episode. I think there are some dumb moments, and I think we wasted a lot of time with Jefferson trying to fly off and just because he wants his kid back. I get that,
Yeah.
and it's like, but also a little bit on like the technology part of it. It's like this is cool because you want to show different ways to use the powers, but I'm like, I'm gonna need some people to really kick it into gear because that was morning when we did this, and now it is night. So that means you've been doing this for a very long time, and I want to start cooking a little bit.
That doesn't bother me because Elise is doing something. Lynn bothered me a lot this episode.
Yeah, why
She's sitting, calling, crying. Is she gone? Is she like do something, bro?
She did what she tried. She tracked down an abusive husband of father of Khalil.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was like,
that's true.
From a writing perspective, what was that supposed to accomplish?
I don't know.
It
New
doesn't
villain.
evolve. It doesn't change anything. He wasn't even that bad a guy.
What?
He just was absent.
No, he
No.
he was like abusive and
I might have
stuff.
missed
Yeah.
that part.
They read his rap sheet.
Okay.
It was
was
bad.
intense.
Yeah, I think it was like assault on her.
Here's
like it was
here's
bad.
the
not
things
great.
that I like shows
But-
to have, though.
be wrong.
I like them to have clear motivation. And right now, I understand what Jennifer and Khalil's motivation is, and I understand what the family's motivation is. So
the kids are horny. That's their motivation.
no,
They're horny for each other.
Freedom. You know,
Sure.
she felt like
Freedom.
she was being suffocated and smothered because her parents wouldn't let her out of the house. And her motivation is being a teenage girl, which means getting out, sticking it to the man, fighting for that. And their motivation is to make sure that their daughter's okay or their family member. So at least you can't say on the show you don't get it. You know,
I get it. I think they could do it better
Oh,
for
totally,
us to
totally. I
root.
see-
Because
you could think that,
I don't
yeah.
want to not root for Jennifer. I want because I like her a lot as a character. It just
I like Khalil too.
I like Khalil, and also there's
I like his
something.
new haircut.
There's also a cool story that I think maybe one writer tried to tell, and I don't think they're nailing it. Is the idea that like since this is a black show, this is meant to be like this is a superhero show for black people, and I think a lot of times in media you see young black men who get on the wrong side of the law, the wrong side of like whatever, and that's what happened to Khalil.
and
like,
they can turn their lives around.
and they can turn their lives around, and you do need to show them at really low points, but the way we're going about it is just through the lens of a relationship where it's like this weird, not coherent Romeo-Juliet thing.
well, we haven't even talked about the other boy either that
There's
they're
another
trying to
boy?
show that with right now.
The one that's Tobias is trying to
Tobias
suck in,
is
the
new.
tech guy.
I did not know what the hell was happening
happening
with all
there.
of that.
Unclear.
Yeah,
But
unclear.
that I feel like they realized it didn't quite work with Khalil, so now they're trying to do that with that boy and
Yeah.
show like no matter how low you are, you don't have to take the money path from the rich
Sure.
dude.
I think I would have liked this episode more. I thought it was going to end with Jennifer realizing, hey, this is super dumb. I'm going to go get help from my parents.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. So I think until Jennifer gets her act together, I'm not going to be watching the
So
show.
was that the mid-season finale
This
for that
is,
show?
yeah. And
yeah,
I also-
it's not a great mid-season finale.
Yeah, but I will say, cool moment is when Jennifer's out and she realizes now that she can kind of like sense stuff out there
Yeah.
by herself, like electrical fields or whatever. And I like that, like, okay, she worked it out. She's like, it's a battery. It's like, it's binoculars. Like, it's like, that's what it is. And so she's like, if I focus more, I can see who the person is out there. So cool. I thought that was really cool, but in a pretty murky mid-season. So I'd give it, if we were rating it, I'd give it like a 7. I don't think it's that bad, but this show has been so much better than this. 6.9.
Okay.
I give it a 7 also.
Yeah.
So
I
not
also give it a 7. But if you listen to us talk about it, we'd have very different
We have very
opinions.
different ones.
Yeah.
Hey, they're all different.
Yeah,
But,
but I've also given things on the show a 3. So
It's true.
oh, that's the show we're going to talk about next. But you know what? Let's hop into. I want to hop into Titans, specifically episode 109. Shockingly,
Yeah, this is going to be our spoiler discussion of the episode we discussed last week.
and refreshers: Hawk and Dove, the origin story of Hank Hall and Don Granger's relationship, and the loss of each other's of their past, and bringing on vigilante superhero Hawk and Dove.
Hank and Don.
Honk and Dove.
Hank and Don.
Honk and Dove.
So
Honk and Dove's ice
It's my
cream.
favorite episode of the show so far.
It is very good.
By far.
And I like hearing that because it's normally when we go on these little digressions to new characters, you guys haven't been as on board. But
so
I
on
think
board.
I think we discussed this last week. I think the actors are so on point, and and we mentioned this last time when they reveal that Hank, who I like, is Alan
Rickson.
Yeah.
It looks like Richson, but I think it's Rickson. is
I
how
like his
pronounce it. I'm
performance
not
as
sure.
Hawk. I'm interested in the character of Hawk flaws and all, and they reveal that he had an unfortunate run-in with a coach. Is how I'm going to phrase that.
Zral13 writes 7 minutes in, and fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
I
one
don't
of
know,
those, like,
run-in or run-ins, because it seems like maybe.
And I was like, I don't know if this show show can handle this. Whenever a superhero show is like, hey, we're going to tackle this, it's like, I don't know if you have the tools to really unpack this. But I think in the end, I think it could have done significantly worse.
I think it did a really great job with what it was trying to do story-wise, because I don't think it's the last that we see from that kind of thing. I don't think we'll never touch upon it again. But it was just explaining about why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
And so it was relevant. And so we had to show it because of its relevancy with his brother, their relationship, like
severe head trauma too.
Yeah.
That's a very big, and that's also something they talk about. They don't touch upon it as much as what happened when he was a kid.
Yeah. Hawk's been through some stuff.
Hawk's been through a lot, and Dawn has been through her share of things.
Yeah.
The only wonky part of this episode that we could just need to get out in front, I think this episode's basically an A, but it drops to like an A-, maybe B+, because of the weird way that Dawn and Dawn's mom,
Donnie
and Dawn's mom, like how they died. It was so silly and it happened so quick. I like blinked and I was like, wait, what the
what
happened?
On paper, I like the idea of a traffic accident tragically takes both of them. But when it happens, it plays like a joke.
Yeah.
Like it plays like some sort of like...
100%.
Yeah.
You didn't need to show it because I know it's like, we're adult, we're gritty, whatever. It's like, you could also not show it because plenty of rated R things don't show violence like that.
Yeah.
And it's like when we talk about comics sometimes you talk about like using less is more, and like you could have used less there and it still would have, the impact would have made a big question mark for us to see who made it out of there. What does it mean?
Dawn's mom is the actress who played Deanna Troi on Star Trek Next Generation. Also cool to make Donnie Hank's half-brother. It was one of those, like, you get some points by making Donnie black now. He's not traditionally in comics, but he is a character that dies. So
yeah.
So you get
That's
you get a little,
win
lose
some,
a little,
you lose some.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you guys are saying about the car and all of that, but it was quick at least.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to harp on it.
Yeah. True. No, it was literally my only negative, and I just want to say it up front and again move on because I think this episode is really good. Also, really quick, Landstander writes in the Discord, Miss Superhero Showdown this last week, and watching Titan's review on YouTube, the one we put up about this episode, and said, I'm shocked Sam and Roxy liked this episode so much. They were so mad about every time they went away from the main team, I figured they'd hate it, but my lord, Hawk and Dove are impossibly attractive.
I don't think you can hate something that's that good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I wasn't mad if you think about it, my favorite episodes so far have been this and Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
So I was not mad every time we went away. I just don't think it's smart for this show that my favorite characters are Hawk, Dove, and the Doom Patrol characters. That doesn't bode well for this show.
Yeah, that's true. I will say something I liked about this is when they show Raven trying to reach out to them through their memories. At first, I thought she was reaching out to them through time, which immediately got me way more interested. I'm like, wait, what are Raven's powers? But and then they say they need to find Jason Todd. That these little digressions make me feel like, cool, all of this matters to the end game of this season. Like Hawk and Dove and Jason Todd, that's what it feels like. You know what I mean? So,
but then if they don't, I'm gonna be so bummed.
100%.
But it does feel like they do.
Yeah.
And this show hasn't given me enough confidence
that
they
I'm
will
not
get
totally
that.
confident.
Except this episode was so well done.
Yeah.
Except the Hawk and Dove was so well put together.
And this was the Jeff Johns one, right?
It was Jeff Johns. Yeah.
But
he's done two, I think.
I really like that they showed them going to like council together, and that like Dawn and Hank like were there for each other, and it turned into like this flirtatious kind of thing. It's like, we're both so attractive, it's bound to happen. But like, it's just so cool to see it like just kind of naturally progress, and also you can see that Dawn's got some shit too. Like we
could talk about this. It's easy to see some of the toxicity on Hawk's side, but there is some on Dawn's side too. Because when she tries to take on the guy that abused him, she's basically treating him like a kid. And so she's momming Hawk, and then Hawk is feeling possessive. So on both sides, they still need to stick with the counseling. Like on both directions, it's like this. I'm rooting for you kids. I want it to work out, but there's some things you need to work through.
I'm also having questions about what timeline-wise when we've seen a little bit about her
and Dick.
Yeah, with her and Dick.
That is confusing.
So
maybe they were taking a break.
Yeah, but what?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely
I know
going
I did
to
not
the next
explain that very well, but yeah.
When did all of this happen?
Yeah,
because they put a timeline on it, and you're like, Still though, like this is kind of confusing. But another.
Also, how are you old enough to be a detective, Dick? Not relevant to this episode.
A lot of questions. But I do want to give a shout out to their original costumes, the original Hawk and Dove costumes.
Can we wear these for Halloween?
They're really good.
Yeah.
The feathers are dumb, but literally everything else I really like.
Also, I have no idea why he chose the name Dove. And also,
Because birds.
considering his experiences, would you go with Hawk? Considering the source of that?
Well, he already owned a lot of merch.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So we rated it last week, but I don't remember what our ratings are. So we want to rate it again.
I don't know. I think I gave it an 8.5, and that just seems to be my day across the board.
You had 1.7, but it's been good. No, I'd say 8.5 or 9. Like it's 9. I'd give it a 9.
I honestly feel like it grew on me enough that I would give it a 9. I preferred this to our amazing crossovers. Like, I loved this episode.
Yeah.
Nice. That's crazy. I think I would give it a 9 as well. I don't know if I gave it last week, but I did give it a 9. But now let's go into our spoiler-free discussion for this week's episode of Titans.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, same. It's season 1, episode 10, Coriander. As Corey's memories come flooding back, she discovers her true mission regarding Rachel. While Dick and Donna discover Corey's alien origins, Rachel uses her powers to save Gar. So,
Spoilers.
lots of we're spread out again, but for good reason this time. I thought it was smarter than just like Dick's like, well, got to figure my stuff out, or I don't want to be around Rachel, so I'm gone. But it's like, no, this is like, it felt like an honest to God like reason to separate the team out. So you have your two stories. You have one where you got Donna, Dick, and you have Dee Dee and Corey. They're over there, and then you've got Gar and Rachel and
Mom, Angela,
and so you're dealing with that, and there's some stuff to like in this episode, and there's some stuff that we're back to stuff that I don't like.
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers.
We'll just repeat it all just to make sure we remember.
This is very much a table setting episode. So it was definitely like, hey, we're getting everything into position for the last 2 episodes, and those are rarely the most exciting episodes in any given season.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Without spoilers, I saw everything coming that came. Mm-hmm. So that made that not fun for me.
Yeah.
And also without spoilers, thank goodness Donna was in this episode.
Yeah.
Because I love her, and so at least that's fun.
She had some really cool moments.
You guys are gonna be happy with Donna's moments.
And also without spoilers, I can't spend this much time with Raven.
It doesn't bother me as much as
I simply cannot.
You're not wrong.
I like the way they flesh out her relationship with her mom. I like that there's some payoff to the way they've been positioning Rachel and Gar in their relationship. Again, it's a table setting.
You're talking about the sex scene?
Spoiler free. No, I like that there's some payoff to that, and I'm interested to see where the final episodes go. I wish it's titled Coriander. We do get an explanation of what her goals originally were,
and more about her, too.
I wish
That's
we could have
dope.
done more with that, and I feel like the reason we didn't is probably budget stuff.
Yes, give me that though. Give me that. I wanted that to be the whole episode.
Yeah.
That what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no,
you guys will know.
All of her stuff and unpacking it, what it means to the plot as a whole, where it's like, oh no, things are actually like, Rachel's way more of a threat than we think. Like this is super bad.
Yeah.
And there are some lines that have more faith, where like characters are like seem to have more faith in Rachel than I've been led to believe.
Yeah.
Also, these characters have been together ballpark
a week tops.
10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, it's been a very short amount of time. They're like, no, like some characters like, I love Rachel. It's like, what are you talking about? How do you even remember their names? At this point,
what is her middle name?
I
If you
keep
don't know her middle name.
Garth, because that in my head makes more sense, or just keep calling him Garfield all the way through, because colloquially we would say that more than Gar. I don't know any Garfield personally. Missing out in life. There's just some stuff where it's like they do like you said, like we've talked about this. They build out the world, and I think the writers are like, okay, we've got their trust, so we can just assume that every character likes each other and that they're best friends. And it's like,
No.
have no reason to think that they are, like, at all.
You have my trust with Hawk and Dove.
Hawk and Dove, Doom Patrol? Where they at?
I also like, no, spoiler free, but there's some like haunted house elements to this episode. And I liked the way, with a particular character, I liked the way it played out. I thought that was...
And Gar specifically gets to explore a lot of the stuff that's like scary about him. And I actually like, the more they explore, like in the previous episodes, they've talked about how like when he turns into a tiger, it's kind of like he doesn't have control. Like he can kind of call it,
but he doesn't.
But it's kind of like him controlling something. And that other thing gets control. And like exploring that more and making it like taking haunted house elements to play with that. I'm like, yikes, actually, even though I do love Beast Boy's powers, those are a nightmare to use.
After this episode, though, I was super confused about Beast Boy.
And I wish I could answer.
Yeah, and I can't really say more than that. Cousins. Yeah, you on it now. But one of my good notes about this episode is one character, one of my favorite characters, I thought was going to react one way at some point, and that person didn't react that way. And I always love when writing does that. And I was surprised by one person's reaction in one moment.
Nice.
So there's that to look forward to.
I do need to ask you about it later because I don't know what it is.
We're going to have to talk about it when it's spoilers.
Yes. We'll see when that is.
Exactly. We'll see. We'll check that out. So what would you guys rate this episode of Titans?
You know, I do want to give him a little bit more praise to Angela, the mom, because I think she does a lot of work to make a lot of Rachel's stuff.
A 6.
You rated
that
a
was
6.
really quick. I'd give it a 7 because I think this show's earned enough of my trust where I'm like, I think you guys can stick the landing.
Yeah.
But I do think she did a lot of work setting the stage with like some of the people she interacts with and with the main cast too. I really like her, and I hope we get some more of her.
We only have 2 more episodes, right?
Yes, that's
2 more. Yeah.
If the next 2 episodes are not good, will your rating for this episode go down?
No, I'd say Hawk and Dove it's in my good graces right now, so I'll give it a 7. I'd give it a 7.
I'll give it a 7 as well, but I do think it's important that the show sticks the landing, and I think they will do it. But I've been burned before by other shows, but
we
I give
all
this.
Have, DJ.
Yeah, no, I give this episode a 7 as well, just because it's just a table setting episode. It's just getting all the pieces in place for what should, I hope, are considering all the things we've set up, could be really cool finale.
Also, Teen Titans, the animated show, did a really good job of each season being about a Titan.
Yeah.
And so if this season's about Raven, next season could be about Starfire.
Do you think this season's about Raven, or do you think it's about Dick?
I don't think they think this season's about Raven, but I think it is too. But I don't think they think that.
Yeah. It's Dick and Raven. Next one's Beast Boy Starfire.
I'd be into that. I like those characters.
I mean, they're my faves. Yes. Yeah.
And then you get Hawk and Dove after that, and we're like all on board. Great. Easy peasy. But what did you guys think about it? And let us know in the comments down below. And thank you for supporting us on Patreon. If you do, you can also click up. There's some over here.
The ether.
There's somewhere over here. You can feel around for it. You can see it up there. You can click that to join our Patreon, and you can join in different tiers. $1, you can send us questions. $5, you get audio podcasts, the full version of this.
Yes.
$10, you get to watch movies with us. $15, you can get the live version, video versions, and $25, you're doing Skype chats with the boys. It's fun time. Roxy, where can they find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer. Thank you guys so much for our mid-season. I love you.
Hello. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I like that. I'm at DJ Talks Trash.
Everywhere that matters. I'm at Sam Basher. I was going to say DJ Talk Trash. I'm at Sam Basher. Everywhere that matters. Cousins. Will DJ be our cousin? Find out.
Cliffhanger.
Weirdly, I'm a nephew or something like that. Like, it's like, what?
Find out when we return next year, 2019, on Super TV Showdown.
Yeah.
Freeze frame. Love you guys. Bye.